A misty, murky night on Merseyside, but two teams who produce plenty of sparkle when they tend to meet at Anfield. Winning starts to the season for both Liverpool and Arsenal in a game that's produced 44 goals in the last 8 meetings at this ground. So someone's O has got to go tonight, Liverpool or Arsenal. We will find out from 8 o'clock this evening. Hello there, welcome along to the Matchday Live preview in association with Standard Chartered. The champions take on the FA Cup winners later on tonight. Jason McAteer is here. Good evening.
Good evening. Someone's O has got to go.
Yeah, it's a boxing term, isn't it? When two unbeaten fighters come together, sort of 7-0, 12-0, someone's O has got to go. That's what they say.
So you nicked it.
So I nicked it, yeah. Well, nothing I say is original or, unique. But
I thought it was pretty good, actually.
Thank you very much, yeah. Are you well?
I am really good, yeah. Yeah, I'm really good. What have you been up to?
A couple of early starts this weekend, actually. A couple of 4-o'clockers. So,
really?
Yeah, a little bit of a line.
What's it like at 4 o'clock?
Dark.
Is it?
Yeah.
Cold?
Dark and fairly unpleasant, yeah. Okay. I'm not a morning person, though, so...
Neither am I.
Also, over the course of the weekend, what on earth is going on in the Premier League? It's madness this season, isn't it? The goals, there's penalties, there's more away wins than home wins. What do you put that down to?
I gave you that before when we were doing our research.
Well, you did, yeah, but now I'm asking you to explain yourself, Jason.
Well, first of all, let's talk about the away wins.
Yep.
I think it's 26 Premier League games, 16 away wins, 2 draws, and that leaves, 8 home victories.
Someone passed their maths O level, didn't they?
No, they didn't. I'm putting it down to the fans being a leveller. I think it's just the fact that teams are turning up, away teams are turning up at grounds they would normally be intimidated in. They'd find it pretty tough because of the atmosphere. I think refereeing decisions as well plays a part because they don't feel as intimidated because they can take the time. The crowd isn't on their back, so different things are happening. We're seeing it with the VAR decisions, with the ridiculous handballs that have been given. So yeah, I think the crowd is playing a big part for away wins. Goals scored. Don't really know whether teams are feeling, because the crowd's not being there, that they can express themselves a little bit more, that they feel they can impose themselves without being sort of looked upon at the crowd as making mistakes and feel inferior to that. Maybe that's the case. There's more attacking football, which is great, isn't it? Great for us. So that's what I put it down to, sheer lack of numbers in the stadium.
Well, let's link a little bit of that to tonight's game. Let's say good evening as well to Nigel Spackman, even to you, Spackers. So loads of goals. Is that one of the reasons, and also the fact that there's no crowd, and also, given their improvement in the last few months, that Arsenal will come here more confident than they have done in a good few years gone by of actually getting a result at Anfield?
Absolutely, and I think also they've got a shape to the team under Arteta, which they didn't have under previous managers. They have a belief that the youngsters can mix it with the best in the Premier League, and I think Arteta started his career really well. But you have to put it in perspective that they played Fulham away and West Ham at home. I think you'd fancy most teams in the Premier League to win their opening 2 games playing those 2 teams. But we started really well against them. Could have gone 2-3 up, really, and then we got really sloppy, and they took full advantage towards the end of the season. But we'd already won the league, and I think a few of the lads were under par that day, especially Alisson and Van Dijk.
Yeah, it's a good point that Spackers makes actually there, Jason, that you'd expect Fulham certainly, and possibly West Ham as well, to be in the bottom 6 or 7 come the end of the season. But overall, Mikel Arteta is making progress, and they aren't the soft touch that they looked for so many years towards the end of Arsene Wenger's tenure and also during Unai Emery's time at the club.
Absolutely. I think we knew Arteta from the schooling he had at Manchester City, being meticulous, going in somewhere with a game plan. He was new to management, obviously, and we weren't quite sure how it was going to go. But I think early doors, I think you're seeing a significant change in attitude, philosophy of how they wanted to play. I think team spirit. And I think his authority was stamped straight away by Ozil, just keeping him on the sideline. I think Guendouzi as well, just getting him out the team and dealing with that situation. They've, like Spacker said, they've got a shape to the way they play. I think winning the FA Cup, I think, is fantastic for the progression, for success, for the taste of victory and what that feels like. He can build on that. But I think I'll go back to what I said first, the attitude and direction. He's given him a way of playing. And I think signing Aubameyang, you know, is kind of maybe not the final piece of the jigsaw, but it's a massive piece of the jigsaw. If you can keep that amount of goals at a football club, then you're moving in the right direction. You know, it's a tough ask again for Liverpool tonight. They're probably playing the informed team in the Premier League at the minute.
And when it comes, actually, Spackers, to looking at fixtures and how they pan out, do you think it would be something of a statement from the champions when it comes to their title defence, that if they go 3 straight wins with Leeds United, who look a good side, away at Chelsea, then home to Arsenal tonight?
Yeah, it's a real tough start for us, for the champions. And, you know, when a newly promoted team comes to Anfield full of excitement, they're going to put on a good show. But we still won the game. That was the main thing. OK, defensively, we've got a lot of improving to do. But to go to Stamford Bridge at any time and win the game there is a big win. And now it's Arsenal at home, where recent years at home to Arsenal, we've done exceptionally well. So hopefully the same tonight. But this is a step up in class for Arsenal. But I think Liverpool and the players will want a little bit of revenge tonight on the back of, obviously, the last 2 defeats to them. Obviously, one on penalties, the one where we'd already won the league title. So I think defensively tonight, we've got to be a lot more solid. Aubameyang's in great form. Lacazette's scoring goals for them. They've got a real good balance to the team.
What I would say is, you know, we talk about Arsenal beating Liverpool after we won the Premier League last season, and you talk about Arsenal winning the Community Shield. I think, and we can easily say, you know, Liverpool, they'd won the league, they were quite off it. Community Shield, they weren't quite ready, they were testing players, it was a pre-season kind of game. But I think you've got to give Mikel Arteta more credit than that. I think he has set his team up in a certain way to play against Liverpool, and that is quite pragmatic. He's played 2 holding midfielders, he's played 3-4-3, he's squandered possession, he didn't care. The first game that we played was 31% for Arsenal and 41% in the Community Shield. He doesn't care about having the ball, and they come out winners. You know, so he is meticulous the way he sets his side up to get a result against Liverpool, and it is quite pragmatic, but it works.
All right, let's get over to the ground. And obviously last week's announcement from the Prime Minister means, unfortunately for you supporters, it might be a little bit of a while longer before we get back into Anfield. But there for us tonight is Mark Benstead.
Evening, gentlemen. Welcome to a wet, a soggy, a drizzly Anfield this evening. We're 2 teams with 100% records. We'll go head-to-head a little later on. Jurgen Klopp has been quick to praise the improvement in Arsenal under Mikel Arteta. He's also, today, been praising his own side as well. Writing in the Matchday programme, he's spoken of how impressed he's been with the humility that his side have shown since claiming the title last season. In terms of the challenge that Arsenal face this evening, I think 2 stats underline how great that challenge is. The first is the fact that Liverpool have dropped just 6 points of the last 120 available here at Anfield in the Premier League. Absolutely staggering numbers that they've managed to deliver. And on top of that, Arsenal have failed to win away from home in the Premier League against any of the big 6 sides in the last 27 attempts. In terms of the team news for tonight, well, Kieran Tierney should be back available for Arsenal should they want him. You've got Shkodran Mustafi and, of course, Socrates, both still unavailable, though. Liverpool don't have Joe Matip to call on or Jordan Henderson. They both miss out. Diogo Jota, though, is available to perhaps make his first start for the Reds since signing from Wolves. The signing of him and Thiago Alcantara have really lifted the spirits of Reds in recent weeks. There is a feeling amongst some that could take Liverpool to an even higher level. Is that something, though, that Jurgen Klopp goes along with?
I don't know if we can be better than last year. I don't know if we were last year better than the year before, just because we had 2 points more or became champion. We always try to do the right thing in the right moment. And yes, we are an offensive-orientated team, but without a very good defensive structure, you have absolutely no chance. So we won 1 game in the Premier League now, 2-0, which we saw, and you saw obviously in the end against 10 men of Chelsea. The other one was a 4-3 before that game, or after that game. Probably people said, yeah, it's still like it's a little bit like Circus Roncalli. Up front they score, but in the defense they struggle. Neither nor, to be honest. We don't have a proper defensive struggle or something like that, and we are not scoring or cannot stop scoring. Let me say it like this. It's really that we try to do our absolute best in each game, and that's something I loved in both games so far.
I guess a lot of the discussion in terms of the team he might pick tonight will centre around the midfield. Some of that also depends on whether Joe Gomez is fit and whether Fabinho has to play at centre-half. If he is fit, what would your three be?
If everybody's fit? Because obviously there's talk.
Well, we know that Jordan Henderson's out, but if Joe Gomez is fit and okay to partner Virgil van Dijk, what would you do with the three in front of them?
Well, the big talk, wasn't it, at the weekend, all over social media and in the news, was whether Alisson was going to be fit and whether Thiago was going to be fit. I think Alisson is okay, from what I'm hearing. Thiago, I'm not sure. But are you saying if everybody's fit, obviously apart from Henderson's? Mm-hmm. I would go, obviously we believe Joe is fit. I would go Fabinho centre-half to get Thiago into that central area. I think if Fabinho is, if they're all fit, I think Fabinho playing in that central midfield, central position, I think then you're obviously changing the dynamics and the way Thiago plays, because you're not going to have to play left of him or right of him, and that's not really where you want him. You can easily slot Joe Gomez in at centre-half, but I just think for a better balance tonight, if he wants to get Thiago in the team, he's got to get him in central. And that means Fabinho will play centre-half, I think. I don't think he'll drop Fabinho.
If Arsenal are to set up Spackers the way they have done in the two previous games, which is that sort of low block and being pretty pragmatic about things, then we saw at Stamford Bridge last week that Thiago might be the perfect man to try and thread the eye of the needle.
Yeah, but we have to take it that, it was 45 minutes against Chelsea with 10 men. And, Thiago's wonderful. He always wants the ball. He makes others play. He's got a great range of passing. He's got a good shot on him. But if he starts tonight against Arsenal, it would be a completely different game for him, I think, against 11 Arsenal players who are in good form. So it's going to be interesting how the balance is for Liverpool. But I'm looking at Arsenal and saying, well, is he going to be brave and go three up top again? And if they are, then on the counter-attack, we've got to be really switched on. And I think that's why Joe Gomez, if he's fit, will play as centre-back because of the pace of Aubameyang coming in from that left-hand side where we saw him score a few wonderful goals, but that wonderful goal against us last time out when he bends it in the far corner. So tactically tonight is going to be really interesting for me. But I think if Thiago's fit, he's got to play. And I think he'll play a little bit more advanced of what we've seen him in the past.
A couple of guys who might well have felt that they pressed their case a little bit on Thursday, but can you really select someone who plays well against Lincoln for a game against Arsenal, or will it just be noted down? Yeah, Minamino was good, Jones was good, but doesn't really matter for a match like this.
I think he would have already known his team. I don't think what anyone done at Lincoln was going to push themselves to get into that team tonight. I think he knew what his setup was going to be, barring obviously injuries to different players and right up to the to the selection. I don't think anyone is going to get into that team from Lincoln apart from Virgil, who obviously started.
Had a little potter around for 45 minutes and went off at half time.
And went home.
He went home, yeah, went put his feet up and his slippers on. What about Arsenal and their team, Nigel, in terms of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang? We've spoken about him, but he's been speaking about just how impressed he's been by Mikel Arteta. But is that almost Arsenal's best signing of the window to get him down to a contract? Because without him, you're almost starting from the bottom up again, aren't you?
Yeah, I think that's what Jason said. That signing was immense for Arteta and for Arsenal, because if they lose Aubameyang, they lose their captain, they lose their focal point, the man who can score goals in big games, but who everybody else in the squad looks up to. So it was important they held on to him. So, he'll want to do well again. I don't think he's really done that well against Liverpool, against Klopp anyway. But I think tonight he'll want to put on a show and show that Arsenal are up there and they're going to be contenders this year, if not for the top spot, maybe for a top four finish. And that's the way they've started the season. But Aubameyang is a massive, massive signing for them, as Jason said.
I think the way Mikel Arteta plays, when he plays on the break against Liverpool, because like we've mentioned, he is very pragmatic in his setup. When you've got someone like Aubameyang who scored 70 goals in 109 games, he can be clinical at the right moment, and you can be able to afford to be pragmatic, thinking, I might only get 3 or 4 chances in this game, but if one falls to him, there's every opportunity we're going to score.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for now approaching kick-off at Anfield. We are back at 7 o'clock on LFC TV and LFC TV Go with all the team news, interviews as well from Jurgen Klopp and Sadio Mane as Liverpool look to make it 3 wins from 3 in the Premier League at the start of this season. We'll see you a bit later on.